Hi there, welcome to this video where it's gaming in the background and it's basically me just talking about my life, trying to get that shit in order, changing the things that I want to change. And it's funny because so far this is the fourth video, and you may have noticed that between the third and fourth video there was a break. For 3 weeks I didn't work on the project at all, I didn't upload anything. And you may wonder what the reason is that I didn't do any of that, and it's because perfectionism. Of course it is. It's the one thing that I want to change most, and it's funny to see how quickly within this project, the project that is meant to change to change this, to work on perfectionism, how quickly it surfaced. Sort of like this project, what's happening with this project, just me posting 3 videos and then stopping for a while before having to pick it up again later. It's sort of a microcosm of what's happening in real life constantly with myself. And yeah, within 3 videos. So I'm actually surprised that it happened this quickly, but it sort of shows how deeply this is rooted inside me, this perfectionism, and how important it is for me to change this. Because these past 3 weeks I really didn't do anything about the project, and the reason for that, I think at least, is that I didn't really know which way I wanted to go. I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about in the next video, and instead of just being able to sit down and think about something, or just taking a walk trying to think what do I want to spend the next video on, things like that, they were very difficult for me without me really noticing. I don't really notice that I find them extremely difficult, but they are very difficult for me. Because if I sit down and think about what do I want the next video to be about, it has to be the perfect next video, right? So I don't just have to think about something, I have to think about the perfect thing for that next video. And beforehand you know that that's never going to happen, so you just don't start it at all. And that is basically what happened these past 3 weeks, is that I just didn't start it at all. Sometimes I tried to plan in the hours, like on Thursday I would work on the project for 1 hour or whatever. And then when it got close to actually working on it, I just didn't do any of it. I would just continue doing what I was doing at that moment, and just, I don't know, I think about it in the back of my head, but somehow the idea of sitting down and trying to think of something about my life that I want to talk about was very scary, because I knew that I couldn't really find the right thing to talk about, and that's why I didn't work on it at all. And as I said, it's sort of a reflection of what is constantly happening with my own life, with things like school, with my thesis, stuff like that. It's constantly happening there, and it's funny to see how quickly that surfaced here, to see that it's happening here as well. So it's not just something that has to change in regards to my school projects. It's something that has to change for everything, for all the projects that I want to start on. And it's hard because I know that it's something that I have to work on, right? But it is very difficult. I don't really have the right answer to it right now. Well, like, I just have to start doing this and then everything will be fine. I don't have the solution to any of it yet. So right now, I guess in the beginning I should sort of see these videos more as rambling videos, instead of them being completely structured, as I'm sort of trying to do that. I'm sort of fighting against myself with this project, because a part of me wants this project to be perfectly structured, right? That's the perfectionism part of it. And the other part of it knows that I just have to start this, right? That in the beginning there will be no structure. The structure will become apparent as we go on. Like, that's when you'll be able to put the videos in the right categories. But just to start it, just to make sure that at least I post something every now and again, I'll just have to start this, even if there isn't any structure. And that struggle is really surfacing quite early on. More so than I thought it would. So that's something I struggled with. I wanted to make it perfectly structured, and now I'm here just sort of rambling. So this isn't structured at all, and this is what I should be doing, especially in the beginning. And the structure it'll start to appear later on, but it's still very difficult for me to accept that. And another thing that I noticed is that the first 3 videos, they've been around 20 minutes long each, and that's sort of become the benchmark for me. Like, oh, I have to, every video is going to be at around 20 minutes just to keep it consistent, or to keep it structured. Maybe it might just be that as well. But that was sort of the goal, to keep them around 20 minutes, to keep some consistency in there. And now that's another source of stress because now I'm sitting here thinking like, oh shit, I have to have enough to talk about for 20 minutes. I can't just sit here, pick up the microphone and just talk about something that is bothering me, or something that I want to work on. I have to have enough to say about that to keep the video going for 20 minutes. So even if it's gonna suck, it's better to get that video to 20 minutes than just to make it shorter. So yeah, those are 2 things that I noticed about the project, and that I noticed are stopping me from posting videos as much as I want to. And for both of these, I don't really have a solution to them right now. I guess the only thing that I can do is just to keep going, just to keep doing stuff like this. Even if I'm out for 3 weeks, like I have been just before, if I don't post anything for 3 weeks, at least I'll have to pick up the microphone again and post something sometime. Because as soon as I stop posting entirely, then the project is over. So just in the beginning, I might stop more often. I'll probably have this exact same pattern more often, where I'll just not post anything just because of perfectionism. And the only thing that I really, really, really have to do is that I'll just, no matter how long the pause between videos, I always have to start making the next video. Even if it's after like months, still just pick up the microphone and make another video. So that's sort of, I guess what I'm doing here is sort of making a promise to myself, like really saying this to myself, like you can't stop this project, even if you trip, which I did, like after video 3. Don't stop the project, even if you have long pauses. Just pick it back up again, no matter what. Just keep picking it back up again, because I'm gonna fall again and again and again, like with everything that you do in life, right? The same goes for this project. I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fall again and again, and the only thing that I really, really need to do is just to keep picking myself back up again, because then the project will keep going. And it's something that's actually sort of the main point that I wanted to touch on in this video, is that perfectionism, it's something, for me at least, that touches every aspect of my life. Like, of course it touches school, but it also touches like the social aspect, relationships, but it also touches things like my hobbies, stuff like that. And it's just something that occurred to me, is that with school, like say for example with my thesis, if perfectionism really rears its ugly head, so to speak, like in writing the introduction, I can be out for a few weeks easily. I can just not do anything on a thesis for a few weeks just because I can't get myself to start. And the strange thing is that with things like my hobbies, like 2 of my hobbies in particular, one is I'm trying to learn guitar, so I love to play guitar. And the other is that I'm trying to learn Spanish. So it's something, what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to read Harry Potter, the first book, in Spanish, because I've read it before, I know what happens. And then in Spanish, just to learn the words, and every word that I don't know, I'll look it up. So it's going very slowly, right? It's about 2 pages every 15 minutes. What happens with those projects is I fail in those things as well. I fail in playing guitar, something like I'll try a song and it's way too difficult for me, and I can't get anything right, or something that I could play before, I can't play it now. Stuff like that. Or in Spanish, words that I did know before, I don't know them now. Or I'll get to a page that is just extremely difficult and it takes me a really long time, and you get really demotivated. The same happens to me with those hobbies. Only the difference is that, strangely, with those hobbies, I can bounce back like really quick. Like, say I'm reading Harry Potter in Spanish, right? And I get to a page that is just extremely difficult, and there are words that I should know but I don't know, and it's just, I'm getting demotivated, right? I'm failing, so to speak. If that happens to me with that, then within a week, I'll be back. Right? I'll like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. I'll be back reading Spanish. So I failed, but within a week I'll try again. And that's the difference. The same goes for guitar. Like I'll stop playing for a short while, and then I'll just start playing again, like within 1 or 2 weeks. And that's sort of the difference between perfectionism within my hobbies and perfectionism within school. Like stuff with my hobbies, like I've been playing guitar for I think 4 years now, something like that, maybe 5, and I've never stopped playing guitar. I may have had long breaks, but I never really stopped. And I know that projects such as this one, or things such as school, if I have the opportunity, and if I do fail, I will stop completely, and I'll not bounce back, or it will take me months to bounce back. And that is something that's costing me a lot of time, especially with school. But with projects like this, I've started things like this before, and I haven't continued any of them. It will be so easy for me with this project as well. It's very easy for me to picture this, that one day I'll just have the exact same thing that I did now, where I'll have a break of a few weeks. I just don't know what to talk about, and I can't sit down to work on what I want to talk about because of perfectionism, and the wait gets longer and longer, and I'll just never post another video, and then it's done. Then the project is done. And it's very easy for me to picture that, because it's happened with other projects so many times before, with things that I wanted to do. So the strange thing to me is, what is it with those certain hobbies like playing guitar and learning Spanish that it's so easy for me to bounce back from that, and it's really not easy for me to bounce back from those other things. And if you're looking for the answer, like, oh, this is it, this is exactly what's causing all that, I don't have it yet. I don't know what it is that's causing that, but it's something that I feel is very important to work on, to think about. Like, if I know what it is that makes it so easy for me to bounce back with those things, then I can apply that to school, then I can apply it to this project, and then I can apply it to all those things that I have a very difficult time with bouncing back. I can use that stuff like, oh, if I do this, and if I do this, or if I think this way, if I think that way, then I'll be back within a week, within 2 weeks. So first step is just to figure out, why is it so easy for me to bounce back from those things? What am I doing within my mind, or whatever? What am I doing that makes it very easy for me to bounce back? And it's something that, I guess that's sort of the main thing that I want to be working on. And I don't think it's something that like I wish it was just something that I could just take a walk outside, just clear my head, think about this, like, what is it that's making me bounce back, and just walk for an hour, get back, and think, oh, this is it. This is the answer. This is what I'm looking for. I have a feeling this is a lot more complicated than that. So it's something that I'm starting here in video 4, thinking about that and trying to answer it. If I start it now, like, who knows? Maybe I'll find the answer to it in video 20. I don't know. But if I do have the answer to it, then I can start applying it and see if this really is something that's, like, if I'm really onto something or not. So that's sort of the main point of this video. Like, it's not that perfectionism is a one-note thing for me. It's not that it's like, it's a character trait because it happens with all those different projects, but how I deal with it in all those different things is different. It's not something like, I have perfectionism, so everything I start, when I fail, I stop completely. Or I can't start anything. I can start some things, I can't start other things. So there's a sort of a difference between it, and I'm trying to figure out what that is. So far these videos have been mostly about, taking action, like trying to get a regular sleep pattern, and just writing down the hours that I want to be working on projects, things like that. So it's simple action-oriented things. Like these are things that you can write down, like I'm going to do this, and it takes about 5 minutes, and then you can do it and see the effect that it has. This is something different. This is really about the mind. This is really about, thinking about how to change things, how to change your own thought patterns. And it's something that I'm going to have to delve into this a lot more in the future, because things like the action-oriented things, like getting a regular sleep pattern, it's going to help me. But if I want to change, I feel like the most important things that I need to change are the way that I think about certain things. And it's something that I want to return to, I think, in the next video. I don't want to pin myself down on it because it'll be even harder for me to make the next video if I said I'm going to definitely do this in the next video. So maybe in the next video, what I want to work on is the way I explain things. It's something that's very interesting to yourself as well, like how do you explain things? And maybe that is where the difference is between the hobbies and the other projects. So videos like this, where it's just about your thoughts, instead of ending them with a really action-oriented things like writing down your sleep pattern, what I want to do here is ending them with a question to myself. And it's a question that you can ask yourself as well, if there's something else you're struggling with. If it's something like, if you're having trouble with something else, just what's the first question that comes into your mind when thinking about how to solve them? Are there any differences in your own life? Where do you apply that sort of that problematic thing that you do? Is that something that you apply to everything, or is it only in certain areas of your own life? And that's sort of the question that I want to ask myself is, with the perfectionism that I do have, why is it very difficult for me to bounce back from failing at things like school projects or projects such as this? For this, it's very hard for me to bounce back, and it takes a very long time, while it's so easy for me to bounce back with things like playing guitar and learning Spanish. What is causing that difference? What are the thoughts that are causing those differences? So that's sort of the question to myself, and that's something, now that I have that question, I'm going to write it down in the book, as I have done everything else so far. So I'm going to write it down, and every now and then I'm going to read through it so I can think about it. And who knows, maybe in a few weeks or months I may have found some form of answer. And if I do, of course, as always, I'll let you know. So far, at least, thanks so much for listening to me ramble incoherently without any structure, as part of me really hates. But yeah, thanks so much for listening, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next video.